Good morning. Did you play the league versus under 21 angle yesterday in the EFL Cup? I mentioned it in yesterday's video, and there was a few matches where you could have got a decent trading angle, dependent on liquidity. So let's take a look. First potential angle is the old standard 0-0 at half-time, Chesterfield and Liverpool, 1.25 home favourite. So if you can get that draw as low as possible, or because of the odds, 1.25 suggesting 3+ goals for the home side, or a neutral goals play, you would have been amply rewarded. 1.57 shots. Port Vale find themselves a goal down at half time. So if you trusted the market, and if the in-play stats were suggesting Port Vale were up for the cup, which, going by that metric there, 2.73 expected goals, I think you'd have been quite confident. First half, underperforming. Second half, foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, and all the rest. 2.31 expected goals. I know you wouldn't have seen that metric until it developed throughout the match. But if you have an in-play stats feed and you've got an XG metric, follow that, because you will have seen a rise in Port Vale's XG and indeed their shots on and shots off target. 8 shots to 3. Just the one on target. 8 on target. That's more like it. I thought that was a bit weird. One on target. 8 on target. It's more like it. So some good metrics. So there were some plays yesterday. Look at the goalkeepers' goals on target faced, 3.33. So some good stuff there. Port Vale and Fleetwood. Here we've got one of our league teams versus under 21s. I told you to look out for yesterday. The under 21s don't tend to perform well when they're meeting league opponents. What are you going to do then when Wolves under 21 score first? We're going to take them on. Because it's under 10 minutes, you always have the option of a half-time play, because you've got effectively 35 minutes for the home favourite to score a goal. So that's always an option for you. Otherwise, you can do a simple straight 90-minute match odds. That's your first cash out. You only have to wait for the hour for the absolute cash out as they lead. So some good stuff yesterday from Salford. That's probably a relative of Nicky Butt, I would say, playing for Salford. Here's one which is doubly impacted. We've got a 1.53 home favourite league team against an under 21, so you've got them targeted. And a 3-minute lead, that's gettable. But if you're a bit lukewarm about that, the half-time 0-1 lead, and with 10 men, you'll be guaranteeing yourself shorter odds, laying an outsider because they're leading. So that is an excellent angle to go into the second half with. And all you need is a bit of Woods and Pickles, and off we go. I love Woods and Pickles. I might have some this Christmas. Job done. Nice and simple, isn't it? If you waited for the red card, or if you waited for half time, an excellent entry point. Well, we had an interesting one here. We've got a league team against an under 21 team, but the market's favouring the under 21 team. So are you going to be playing our strategy here, taking on the under 21s when they're playing league side? Because with Washington's opening goal for the Arse, you've got a quick response from Perrett, and then the red card. If you didn't play that angle initially, you would, I hope, have been slightly interested by this. It's a 59th minute red card, and importantly, there's half an hour to go. Yes, the draw is in play in the cup, but if you fancied it, or if the in-play stats were suggesting that Cardiff reacted well to the red, we can't really see. But 0.37 expected goals. This is typical Arsenal, isn't it? Keeping their opponents as quiet as church mice. So an interesting match. Today's trading angles, well, there aren't any. Those of you who do have an itch to scratch, you can practice your 2.5 goal trading ideas with Peter under 21 and Crew under 21, I would suggest. UEFA Europa Cup women, I don't know whether liquidity will be an issue here. Certainly, the knowledge gap for me is lacking massively. For example, I would know all about Hacken men's and Inter Milan men's, but I'm not sure of the... You can see the difference for the ladies' game. Hacken are given a shout here, and they're even favourite. If that was the men's game, they wouldn't stand a chance. So I'm not too clear on the Europa League for ladies, and the problem would be a liquidity issue. The odds as well, very lukewarm, aren't they? Lots of niggly 1.79 favourites. Roughly translated, we think they are slightly the better side, but we can't discount the draw. That's what 1.76 is telling you. It's just one of those, it's not a rock solid favourite. It's one of those you have to think about. For example, if Glasgow ladies score first or Hammarby ladies score first, you have to do some stats checks, make sure that the market's got these teams correct. I don't know whether we have, we won't have rankings. It's league football. So for this video, I'm going to be reminding you of the wonderful website that is soccerstats.com. It's at this stage of the season where form research will pay off. Let's take a look at a league which started before the English Premier League, the Championship, for example. You're going to start seeing real good form lines that you can take advantage of. So on any match day, you have to tackle all of this nonsense, but it's a wonderful website. They do deserve to earn an income, I suppose. Preston against Blackburn. So this is one way to get to the match. Okay, matches will be listed on your left, or you normally have a matches section here as well. So you click on the stats. And I just want to walk you through how I do a quick research and then more in-depth research. Now this, I would suggest, might be just an error with the year. No, okay, we can't check the Championship. Well, this is convenient, I suppose. This is not your traditional page that you would see. Normally, I would suggest you go view stats and matches for both teams to get a head-to-head view. But let's take a look at this specific page before you even get to that section there. There's plenty of information. So if you just click on the team's name, you'll get to this particular page without the usual head-to-head element. So let's take a look through. You get the recent form up here, which is inverted. So the most recent form is at the top. And you can see both of these two sides coming off the back of worrying runs and have put together a couple of winning sequences. So they are back on a winning footing. The most important element of your research is what I call the challenge table. It's referred to here as the results table. And I can't show you the head-to-heads today, I'm afraid, because there is that error in every single league. So I would suggest they're updating their database with the international break. But let's tolerate this page here. It's got plenty of information. And the key is the challenge table, particularly at this stage of the season. It's November. You've got plenty of matches under your belt, particularly in leagues which started before the Premier League. So show some patterns. We've got the home side here, Gillingham. We've got Crawley Town down here. Can you see any patterns just from this table that you might be able to exploit as a trader? Well, what I first look at is Gillingham's performances against teams around Crawley's or lower, particularly given their home side at home. A 0-1 and a 1-1 is not very exciting, is it? But what it does tell me Gillingham find it hard to concede that second goal unless it's against one of the big top three. So notably, what you'll be taking into this match would be a possible defensive solidity for Gillingham, particularly against teams around Crawley in the league. But what is more worryingly for Gillingham, against all teams in all sections of the league, which is where this table is very effective, because teams perform differently in different sections of the league. There is a worrying lack of that second goal at home. It's only come about once for Gillingham. So are they vulnerable if scoring first? Are their opponents today, Crawley Town, good enough to exploit that potential Achilles heel? And this is where XG will come in and tell you the exact same story. So I might do an XG on this as well. But this tutorial is mostly about soccer stats and the initial page before you get to the H2H. I had to do this by necessity because it's all unavailable. So we've looked at Gillingham at home. It's notable. You must look at a home side at home and indeed overall form, but most notably at home. Away side away from home. What do you note here when they're playing teams around the Gills? Hefty loss. Hefty loss. But do we just take the top five as a different category altogether? Because suddenly it's 1-0 here. It's competitive here. But obviously they've got the number over Chesterfield, don't they? So that might just be an anomaly. But what you do tend to see from Crawley Town away from home is that they concede and could concede 2 goals at least today. But our problem is Gillingham have scored 2 goals only once at home, as you can tell through this challenge table. So yes, Gillingham very vulnerable, Crawley very vulnerable away from home, not beating the top. I have to count now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Top 12 side at 12-12, not beating the top 12 side, and could concede 2+ goals. What we've got to concern ourselves with is whether Gillingham are up for the fight. It does suggest Crawley Town are liable if leading, but you have to cover the insurance because of that limp forward line for the Gills. So the challenge table in and of itself is a real quick way for you to just get the feel for a football match, isn't it? This is vitally important. A lot of traders and football bettors don't take the challenge table into account, how teams perform against various sections in the league. For example, Gillingham at home to the top 3, 2-1-0 wins. Tells you a specific tactic is in play, doesn't it? Gillingham against these top sides, well, only the one defeat was by a single goal. So you see some patterns emerging, don't you? Crawley Town against teams below them in the league, going to be competitive, particularly away from home, as you can see there. So this is a different format from your usual head-to-head page. You've got the goal statistics here right at the top. What would catch my eye? Well, you'd be looking, they've done it for us already. They've sorted by home for the home side, away for the away side. So that's very good. Good boys, soccer stats, because that's what we need to focus on. And immediately you'll see this 29% over 2.5 goals for the Gills suggests there's going to be a problem scoring today for them. Maybe conceding as well, although Crawley Town struggle heavily. You'll be looking statistically, in-play stats at Crawley Town, conceding a lot of shots on and off target, and you'll keep an eye out on whether Gillingham's expected goals, i.e. the quality of chances they're creating, is good enough to exploit Crawley Town's possible concession of 2+ goals. So we're incongruous with 2.5 goals, aren't we? So I wouldn't be looking at a neutral play there. Even 1.5 goals is a very low percentage. That could open the door up for you to say lay over 0.5 goals at the start of the match. Very, very low odds. Hopefully sit on a 0-0, create for yourself a risk-free play at half-time, because they have had 100% over 0.5 goals. So that is an important stat as well. If it's 0-0, very, very, very late on. Have that in mind. Again, incongruity, 38% over 2.5 goals to 62%. That's because they're conceding so heavily away. doesn't look like a neutral play will be a good play in this particular match, does it? Now, this is a section you don't see in the head-to-heads. It's called Contextual Averages. It sounds a bit complicated, but I think it's just the averages put into a context. There we go. What I would be looking at would be the 2.5 goal potential. That could be the contextual averages table. Could offer you an entry for over or under 2.5 goals. This would be under 2.5 goals, wouldn't it? But just about. So it's the average total goals, goal for and goals against. So it's more biased overs when Crawley play away from home, as you can see. Scoring rate of 86% could give you some confidence if it's a 0-0 at half time. Ditto, 50% clean sheets. So they're contextual averages. So that is the equivalent of failing to score as well, isn't it? So yeah, that makes sense. So it's the opposite stat which fits in. Scoring rate, conceding rate, similar, 86%, which suggests clean sheet has an 86% chance of ending. Failing to score and clean sheets, 14%. Scoring in both halves, very poor ratio as well. Conceding in both halves. Those of you who want specialist football bets or bet builders, this might interest you. A bet builder is an accumulator on a single match. If you're using contextual averages, you'd be looking at under 2.5 goals, that kind of thing. You'd be looking at no, both teams to score, no in both halves, etc. Scoring first, that could be an angle for a trader. You're expecting the home side to score first, or at least the away side to concede first in 70% of their away matches. So we might not see a trade this evening if Crawley Town score first. And again, this table lays bare the potential problems for both teams. And it's great that they split it by home for the home side, away for the away side. You can already see, and you can potentially create a scoreline out of this. 1-0, 0.57. They're pushing towards struggling to score that single goal. Gillingham have been scoring a goal often enough to push their goals for per match up. So just based on that, and I might start using these tables to create bet and go ideas, because that could give you an idea for a correct score, couldn't it? 1-0. Clean sheets, you'll be looking at Crawley Town's poor clean sheet record. Be looking at them conceding. That's important if they score first, Crawley. As a trader, you want to see them conceding quite a lot, don't you? Scoring first, Gillingham got the greatest chance of scoring first. And this stat is interlinked with the 70+% stat from earlier on. If I can find it. No, I can't. Leading at half-time, well, that's if you want to do neutral or first half plays. Average corners, that's for corner plays. And goals against, this is the negative element. 2, we've already seen that, haven't we? So you'll be alerting yourself to the possibility of Crawley Town conceding 2 goals today. Okay? And if they do, and they're leading, that's your trading angle. Lost to 0. 14% of matches have lost to 0. So scoring, well, conceding first, 71% of matches. So you're expecting Crawley to concede first today. If you're having trouble accessing that head-to-head section, which I was doing today, you can actually go to this bit here, and some of the information will be available underneath, as will a write-up. I would suggest AI's done this write-up. If you want to save yourself some heavy lifting, go straight to the bottom here. 73% of Crawley's points have been earned at home. Boom. You're already with the Gills, aren't you? So this is where you can get some additional information if you can't access the head-to-head section. Goal times as well. Home for the home side, away for the away side. You know that already, don't you? So we're not looking at this first table. We're looking at the second table. And what pattern can you see immediately? As a trader, you would be looking at that second half scoring bias for the Gills if it's 0-0 at half time. You'd be looking at the concession bias for Crawley away if it's 0-0 at half time. So this is looking like a really good section, isn't it, of soccer stats. It's just differently formatted. I quite like it. And you've got even more information here, the compare section. This is comparing against the league average. And you're getting additional information again if you can't access the head-to-head. Goals, we've already looked at that from earlier on. Full goals information. And leading, I don't tend to use this table. Scoring first in 4 out of 7, conceding first in 3 out of 7, scored first in 57%, leading in 1 out of 7. Oh dear. So they're not very adept at leading these sides, are they? Minutes per game spent leading, about 20 minutes. And minutes per game spent level in games, 47 minutes. And trailing, 22 minutes. So that could be a good trading angle, couldn't it? If they're quite adept at coming from behind within a 20-minute mark, that could give you an entry point, couldn't it? I will delay until half of that, 11 minutes, and then enter the market, because in the next 11 minutes, I'm expecting the fact that they're trailing to end. Any other stats? Well, let's have a look. We've got the scorers as well. Notable, if you've got a key goal scorer, make sure he is playing. Okay. Now, what they haven't done, yes, they have. They distinguished it by team, which is very important. So goals, you'll be looking at Josh Andrews and Bradley Dack. You'll be needing them to be playing today if you fancy a shot for the Gills in front of goal. And Crawley Town, well, quite clearly, Mr. McCurdy is your boy. He's scoring home and away. If Mr. McCurdy is injured, then Crawley Town will be even worsely affected. Similarly, Lewis Flower and Harry Forster. If any of those three are absent or get injured during the match, that could give you... We're going deep now into advanced trading, where you're actually looking at the players and their impact as well. So I hope this tutorial reminder on soccer stats and the different section. Normally, I would tell you to go view stats and matches for both teams, but if you don't have that available, as is the case here, this will serve you superbly. You can access all of this via the list. For example, at League 2, we could go to this one here, and then we can look through it similarly. So I hope you've seen the importance of the challenge table. I call it the challenge table. It's the team results table. And the different layout here, particularly the contextual averages as far as creating for you an over 2.5 goal play. Maybe this is something I will be using for Bet and Go. Anything above 2.5, we'll see it biased towards over 2.5 goals. Does it come in with enough of a strike rate to get you a reward? Well, the video is quite long now, but I hope this tutorial is helpful for you. If you want any more tutorials, I am traveling today and tomorrow. I won't be available tomorrow. I will be up and away, off to Starmer's Britain with the £6 sandwiches. I can't wait. Any tutorial you want over this break, please let me know. Anything at all. How do I get first half stats? How do I determine the better candidates? We looked at that yesterday. What other stats websites do you use? How can I gauge Champions League, Europa League information? How can I use AI to improve my trading? Let me know. I'll stop this at 25 minutes. Have a great day. I hope this video is useful. Any topics you want covered, please leave them in the comments or email me. Thank you very much and have a great day. No trading today, no trading tomorrow.